Surprisingly enough, this video has a bit of a tie-in with a previous video of mine, one that I hope to link in the description box for you guys. 10 artists that I wish would come back, the heavy metal edition that I did last week. This is probably a band that a lot of people hoped would come back, even though it's definitely not the same lineup that we were used to during the Golden Age, and really not the same lineup that we've been used to now for quite some time. However, they were an important facet of the heavy metal community, especially in the late 80s and early 90s, and have released some fairly decent, not to mention important albums since then. That band is Metal Church, and they have returned here in 2013 with their new album Generation Nothing, which is a pretty accurate description of this current day and age. Now, originally, this wasn't really meant to be a comeback for Metal Church. In fact, they were supposed to only get together for 2 dates, including this 70,000 Tons of Metal tour that took place in the latter stages of 2012. However, after they did these shows, the reunion stuck and they opted to work on a new album together and did so throughout the course of the late spring. And this is the result. The result is Generation Nothing, a 10-track affair that's definitely going to remind you and cause you to reminisce about Metal Church one more time. Now, this has been something that has been a little commonplace for Metal Church. This is, in fact, their second reunion of sorts. And Ronnie Monroe, once again, is returning as the vocalist. We, of course, have Kirk Vanderhoof, who is continuing his roles at the guitar duties. So, really, the lineup that you see does have some differences, but also many of the familiar faces that have graced the Metal Church lineup throughout the 2000s era of the band. Now, the first thing that I notice about this album, and it's kind of something that's just sort of weird to me, is the fact that they do have a bit of a style going, especially with their last 3 albums. With the last 3 albums, we have a lot of songs that are going anywhere from the 3.5 to 5 minute mark, with some of them exceeding 5 minutes and going towards 5.5. But there's always one song, with the examples being Temple of the Sea and Deeds of a Dead Soul off of the past 2 albums, that has always been the lengthy song, the one that has exceeded 8 minutes in length. And we have that once again here with a song entitled Noises in the Wall. And I've always really enjoyed whenever Metal Church has the opportunity to really expand their compositions like this. It seems that they do this only once per album lately. But these are songs that are always instantly memorable to me. Temple of the Sea was kind of this a very unique little composition that they had 2 albums ago, and I always remember Deeds from a Dead Soul just having one of the most powerful refrains and, most instantly recognizable tones to it on the entirety of their last album. So for me, those are tracks that really have and hold a lot of different weight for me with those 2 records. With this one, on the other hand, with Noises on the Wall, that's not so much the case. And the reason why is because that which is built around it has so much seminal influence also, and it has so much influence as well as the message that's being provided here. Now, of course, with songs such as Hits Keep Coming and Close to the Bone and Dead City and Bulletproof, you're getting a different message than what I'm speaking of. You're getting a little bit more of a resilience idea. You're getting a little bit more of a I keep being wronged, but I will persevere type of idea going on. I'm talking about songs like the one that I believe has one of the coolest titles that I have seen. It's very simple, but it's one of the coolest titles that I've seen in a while, and I don't think that this would work as a band name whatsoever because it would just seem kind of off-putting a little bit, but I really like Society. Society is the 6th track on this album and just has a really awesome vibe to it. It's bordering on 6 minutes in length itself, so it has a little bit more of an ability to expand and really be a really important track on the album and really shoulder its own weight. It reminds me a lot of Fuckers from Flotsam and Jetsams on Natural Selection album, in the fact that it's kind of this curious little track with a very simplistic name, but in this case this is a little more creative than just Fuckers, but you instantly look at this on the back of the CD case and you wonder what the hell's going on with this and what this is going to be all about. And it really delivers, and that delivery process is the reason why an album can become either one that you listen to often or one that you just kind of casually toss in every so often. So Society, being kind of a powerful track on this album, really has it really shows a grand future, at least as far as my past is concerned. Maybe it's not the same for you. However, this is definitely a standout track for me. I really like the guitar line on this, and I'm also just a huge fan of the idea in general that's being really presented with this song. there's just so many different ways and avenues in which you can kind of take it and kind of really reflect upon how society today is. You and I, we've talked about this nation. We've talked about the way and the state of affairs a lot with the Thought Buffet series, and also with some of the assorted rants that I have done throughout the course of the past couple of years. So this is nothing new. But it's really kind of cool whenever you see that all being reflected once again, and that you notice that this isn't something that's just a localized ideal or a localized ideology. This is something that a lot of people are kind of holding deeply inside of them, and something that they also see as problematic. It's not just something that is very personal. It is instead something that the overall group is starting to really understand also. Also really like the closer on this album, which is entitled The Media Horse. This has some kind of clever lyrics to it. Really is kind of talking about the ensnarement that a lot of our society has on the news and also on celebrity watch and things like that. Basically, that we are a generation that spends most of our time in front of the television or reading a tabloid magazine, trying to dig up and discover the latest dirt on the latest individual. And of course, in this modern age, I would even take it a step further and say that once that dirt has been discovered, you find a way to twist it a little bit more and serve your own purpose with it, and all of a sudden the whole thing becomes a demented game of media telephone, with it starting off as the true story, and then it denigrates itself down into, you know, the reflection of it and your thoughts on it. It's sort of similar to what we do in some of the YouTube videos, and then down to the tabloid level, where basically it's just completely twisted and distorted to the point where we don't even recognize what is the truth any longer. Overall, this album, I'm really high up on a lot of the lyrical content on this. I'm high up also on a lot of the guitar work on it. I'm solid on the vocals, but I'm not completely sold. I think that this one has its moments of weakness, but at the same time, it definitely has a strong representation. It just isn't something that feels completely and totally consistent. Overall, musically, this is certainly Metal Church performing their signature style. They have a heavy metal style that kind of translates into a thrash style at times, but typically is kind of sticking and reigning true with a traditional heavy metal idea that leans and more so in that little thrashy direction, which has always been kind of a nice appeal for a lot of different individuals, especially me, considering I like both genres, for one, and for two, it's a little unique, and I kind of dig the uniqueness of it a little bit. Metal Church has always been a band that I've kind of had a soft spot for. And this album, I really think, has the potential to really speak to a lot of people if they give it the chance. I have a feeling that this generation, this new generation of metal fans, may be a little bit concerned. They might not know very much about who Metal Church is or know very much about them. However, I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you're watching this video, that you certainly should take the leap and certainly should explore their past catalog, their work with David Wayne as their vocalist, which took place earlier in their career, and then also explore their 2000s era material to kind of get a total feel of what this band is capable of, because they really had a lot of power. They really had a lot of great songs, and really they were kind of a band that was never fully appreciated the same amount in which a lot of others had the opportunity to be appreciated. They're kind of like Overkill in a way, where it seems as like there's just fan upon fan upon fan that is just giving these guys respect because they deserve it. However, overall, they seem really underrated and kind of underappreciated by the overall whole. I would really like to see these guys gain a little bit more appreciation with this album. I think that it's a solid release. I think it's definitely worthy of an 8.25 out of 10. It definitely has its moments where it really shines, once again pointing toward the Media Horse Society, and I'll even throw in, you know, songs like Noises in the Wall, just simply because they have a little bit more to offer than some of the more direct numbers on this album. I think that this album has more positives than negatives, which is always a good thing to say, and I also believe that in 2013 there's still a certain amount of relevance to music like this, and there's still a certain amount of relevance to this kind of social awareness being present in lyrics, and it doesn't just have to be kind of tongue-in-cheekly put in there by rap stars, either that or just kind of metaphorically strewn in there by rock musicians that are trying to wax poetic while also waxing political. So definitely check out Generation Nothing from Metal Church. I want you guys to do that, and let me know what your favorite track on this album is, as well as also, for all of you older fans that really are well-versed in your Metal Church, tell me which has been your favorite hymnal, your favorite album from this band, and why that is. I'll talk to you guys next time, guys. See ya.